is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
Well to right center field. Jackson on the move. Leaps up. He can't get it. Over his head. Mazzara scored. Here comes Moreland. He will score into third with a two-run triple. Ian Desmond, it's 11-10. Well, here's Rua. They have the tying run 90 feet away. Desmond carrying that one. The 1-2 pitch. Hammered to center field. Jackson going back. Way back. Goodbye. On Green's Hill. Ryan Rua has turned the game around. Another huge inning for the Rangers.
Well, last night's game was a great game, which it was. This one tops that.
The 2-2 pitch. Line drive. Elvis there to make the catch. And that is a winner.
I don't know, but I love this damn team. This is what a team, man. That was one of the best games I ever played in my life.
Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT high-speed internet. Well, back at the scene of last night's delirious finish, Globe Life Park in Arlington. So far, the Rangers have washed and folded the Sox, and they look to pack them away here this afternoon and get a series win. Welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Delighted you could join us. And in case you missed it last night, you missed a whale of a ball game. The Rangers have that going for them this afternoon as they take that positive vibe onto the field, and they have their ace going in Cole Hamels.
They do, Buzz. It's hard to top the first two games of this series. The Rangers lost a tough one. They won the great game last night. And what a way to go into the off day tomorrow if Cole Hamels can have a game like he did in his last start in Detroit. This was his best start this year as a Ranger, maybe his best start as a Ranger. Ian Kinsler had a base hit to start the game, then 21 straight outs without a hit. Walked 2, struck out 9. He was at the top of his game. All his pitches were working, command of every one of them. Hopefully he'll be able to back that up with another good one today. The Rangers can beat the White Sox 2 straight and enjoy a great off day tomorrow.
Boy, the Rangers have to feel good about themselves going into this ball game after last night's dramatic comeback in great style here at Globe Life Park. Well, the Rangers and the White Sox getting set to wrap things up. Rangers riding a high as they get set to take on Chicago in this finale. We're back with the starting lineups and first pitch right after this. Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Well, a warm, muggy afternoon here in the middle of May. Rangers and White Sox getting set to wrap up this three-game series. Tom now is going to tell you about the White Sox starting lineup.
Well, the White Sox will start with Adam Eaton. He has a .391 on base percentage, 9th in the American League. Austin Jackson has been hot over his last 15 games. He moves up to 2nd in the lineup. Jose Abreu is the first baseman. Todd Frazier having an incredible series after 2 games, bats 4th. Melky Cabrera's in left field. Brett Lawrie is at second base. Avisail Garcia will be the DH. Deanna Navarro gets the start behind the plate. And batting 9th, playing shortstop, Tyler Saladino.
And that is the lineup that will face the 32-year-old left-hander Cole Hamels. Hamels making his 7th appearance. He is undefeated this year at 4-0. A fine 2.68 ERA. League hitting just .217 against the Ranger A's. Rangers have won 15 of the 16 starts that Cole Hamels has made lately. And the first pitch is outside for ball 1. Cole still with that 11 decision winning streak going. That is a career best for the Ranger left-hander. 1-0 pitch to Eaton, and that is in there for a strike. Adam Eaton, a .300 hitter as he starts things off here today. A home run and 8 driven in. Out of play, down the left side, and Hamels jumping out in front of the count at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, Eaton, not your soft touch for left-handed pitchers. Eaton has as good a numbers against left-handers as he does against right-handers, hitting .385 against left-handed pitching. But Hamels induces a ground ball to Odor, and that is out number 1. And let's take a look at the Ranger defense. It's delivered to you this afternoon by Break Check. A little bit of a change for the Rangers. Ryan Rua gets the start in left field. Ian Desmond moves over to center. And Nomar Mazara back in the starting lineup in right. Moreland and Odor on the right side. Andrews and Beltre manning the left side of the infield with Bobby Wilson behind the plate. Austin Jackson moving up in the lineup to the number 2 spot. Takes strike 1. Jackson, the local product out of Denton Ryan High School. And a 6-game hitting streak coming into play here this afternoon. Well, that was such a terrific outing by Cole Hamels last time against Detroit. You mentioned, Tom, the 7 shutout innings, just 1 base hit allowed. That was to the leadoff hitter, Ian Kinsler. And that's as good as I've seen him as far as commanding all 3 of his pitches, moving the ball from one side of the plate to the other. Very few balls in the middle of the plate.
Yeah, that's a pretty good lineup he mowed through.
Yeah. To right field, Mazara. 2 gone. Yeah, and Hamels, it seemed like, especially to the guys in the middle of the order, Cabrera and Victor Martinez, just had him eating out of his hand, in that they never looked comfortable swinging at any of Cole's pitches. He had him off balance a bit and had him guessing inside, outside, up, down. 2 gone here, and Jose Abreu, a .244 batter, steps in. Abreu with 5 home runs, 22 driven in this year. Hamels working quickly. Did he go around? No, he did not. That appeal down to Jeff Nelson, the first base umpire, and crew chief. Said nope.
Looked like he stopped in time. Good call.
Elvis behind the bag at second. Throw and not in time. Ball not hit quite as sharply, and I believe as Elvis thought. Kind of ran around behind it and couldn't get a whole lot on the throw, moving away from first base. And that's going to be an infield single for Jose Abreu.
It's one of those plays where it looked like Elvis was going to be able to make the play based on what we see him do every day. It looked like he just had a little bit of a problem getting his legs underneath him and getting rid of the ball, which is not easy to do when you're running in that direction and have to come back and throw it the other way. Very close play. Rangers are taking a look at it before they decide what to do.
Yeah, play being held up here. Bobby Jones, Adam Brenner upstairs in the Ranger video room taking a look at all the angles, and they said, nope, it's probably not a good use of a challenge. So the infield single will stand, and with 2 outs now and 1 on, Todd Frazier steps in.
You know, both of the infielders kind of coming together on that play. Not sure if that distracted Elvis a little bit, but it took him an extra step to get rid of the ball, and Abreu's not the fastest runner, but he was able to leg that one out.
Yeah, 2 balls and no strikes, the count to Todd Frazier. Frazier is 4 out of 16 in previous matchups against Cole Hamels. Something other than a fastball that Hamels able to throw for strike 1. Boy, that was a key for Cole too. You mentioned he had great command of all 3 of his pitches against Detroit, but he was able to throw both the curveball and the changeup almost at will early in the count and in fastball counts. 3-1 now to Frazier. Now time called. Frazier not quite ready. Hamels in previous matchups against the White Sox has a 1-0 career mark with a 2.25 ERA. And the previous 2 starts that he's had against them came when he was with Philadelphia. Backing out of play, that fills the count. Most recent start back in 2013. In July of that year, he worked 8 innings, gave up just 2 runs. No 2 outs here, a full count. Abreu will be off and moving. Todd Frazier batting 4th in the order, will be followed by Melky Cabrera. Abreu on the move, payoff pitch, got him swinging. Change up, down and away. And Hamels hits the strikeout. White Sox are gone. No runs, a hit, 1 left after a half inning. White Sox nothing. Rangers coming up.
The bottom of the first, Rangers up to bat. Emily Jones, welcome you back to Globe Life Park in Arlington. Last night, a very emotional win for this Rangers team, and Ian Stesman probably summed it up best.
That was one of the best games I ever played in my life. You know, the rain delay in the middle, Derek, you know, gutting it out, trying to come back out. You know, I respect the effort there. You know, Anthony pitched multiple innings on Sunday. tells me he can pitch today. I know it didn't work out the way he wanted it, but that's gutty. I'll take that guy on my team any day of the week. And then Claudio, goes out and pitches 4 1/3 innings, does an unbelievable job. It's everybody.
A lot of people had a hard time sleeping after that one. It was so fun to watch, so emotional to be a part of. I can only imagine what it was like to actually be a player, guys, but it was a favorable and fun outcome nonetheless.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, no doubt about that. A lot of smiles, a lot of huge smiles after the conclusion of that ball game last night. Boy, and what a big difference. You look at the night before, Rangers losing in 12 innings in a game they had a couple of opportunities to salt away, couldn't get it done. Odor, ground ball over to Frazier, who's playing at the shortstop spot. And that is out number 1. Here's Tom with the rest of the Southwest Airlines Rangers lineup.
Well, after Rube, Ned, it'll be Ian Desmond batting second this afternoon. Nomar Mazara is batting third. Adrian Beltre is the cleanup hitter. Prince Fielder at DH bats fifth. Mitch Moreland is the first baseman. He'll bat sixth. Elvis is at shortstop. Ryan Rua, after the big game winner last night, gets a chance to start against the right-hand pitcher. He'll play left field. And Bobby Wilson is back behind the plate, and he'll bat ninth.
And that lineup facing the 28-year-old right-hander Matt Latos. Here's Desmond. 1 ball and no strikes. Latos off to a very good start, 5-0. Fastball of his command, fastball command really came back for him. He struggled with it the last couple of years. Ranger hitters trying to get to him early in the count. He's throwing a lot of strikes. And this is a guy that if you can get to before he's able to go to his off-speed stuff or go to his secondary pitches, you have a lot better chance. Ian up to 252. That's the highest his average has been this year. 4 home runs now, 17 RBI. That big slow curveball from Latos. And the count goes to 2-1. Desmond, that huge triple in last night's ball game. 3 balls and a strike.
Last night was an interesting game for the outfielders and the infielders. The wind was swirling. There was times where it was blowing out, times where it was blowing in, times where balls carried, times where they got knocked down. Never knew exactly what to expect in last night's game. Well, the outfielders were really tested.
Ian's patience being tested by that call. No, 3-2. Home plate umpire Ben May here this afternoon. Payoff pitch from Latos. Shallow right field. Eaton for out number 2. And we'll take a look at the rest of the White Sox defense here today. Again, the outfield of Cabrera in left, Jackson in center, and Adam Eaton you saw in right field. Abreu and Lowry on the right side. Saladino gets the start at short. Todd Frazier at third, and Deoner Navarro. Second straight ball game, he has been behind the plate, and he has really become almost a personal catcher for Matt Latos. They worked together when they were both with Cincinnati several years ago and struck up a pretty good working relationship. So Matt Latos, excellent numbers with Navarro behind the plate. And I think Robin Ventura said, well, that's what it takes. That's fine. We need the big guy in our rotation, and he has responded by being perfect so far. Nomar Mazara, that 3.01 average, standing in. A ball and a strike. Nomar, if there were any doubt about his ability to rebound after an 0 for 6 on Monday night, that pinch hitting appearance last night pretty well answer those questions. It's looped down the right field line. He sliced it a little bit, and it comes back fair. Eaton with the ball. Mazara going for 2. The throw, they got him. And immediately, Mazara signaling, hey, take a look at that. And Jeff Bannister up on the top steps saying, hang on a second. Not quite so fast. Laz Diaz made the call at second base. And here's what they're going to look at upstairs.
Yeah, I don't know if he touched that front leg.
Yeah.
That's going to be a very interesting call. His front leg came off the bag. The back leg touched the bag. It looked like the tag missed the front leg.
It sure did.
And it looks like by the time it touched the back leg, his foot is already on the base, and then his back leg.
Well, they're not going to challenge it.
Okay.
They will let that go. So, a single, and Nomar Mazara caught trying to stretch it into a double. That'll do it in the first. Rangers, no hits and nobody left. No score after one. Well, Melky Cabrera starting off the top of the second inning. Takes strike one from Cole Hamels. It'll be Cabrera, Lowry, and Garcia. Here are the White Sox second. And Cole Hamels back at it again. Inside corner at the knees. The breaking ball to the back door. And very quickly ahead. No balls, 2 strikes. Cabrera, 3-0-4 batter. 1-2. Cabrera in this series 2 out of 7 with a double. Pulled that just foul of the bag down the third baseline. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Now we'll go back to the Nomar Mazara base hit. Some uncertainty in this whole situation.
Yeah, the way he hits this ball, he slices it. He thinks it's foul, but it had so much spin on it that it went from being foul to a fair ball. Well, let's check this out. It hits and breaks the bat. Wow.
That's why
what a camera shot. And then hit the end of the bat.
That's why it had that slicing action on it.
No wonder. Yeah, you couldn't tell till that replay. What a great replay.
Nice going, guys.
It hit the bat off the handle and broke the bat. And then caromed off the end of the bat, and that's why it ended up fair. Boy, that's one you don't see very often. I think we have seen that once in the last 5 or 6 years, though. I remember the same thing happening.
Yeah, I do too.
Couldn't tell you who or when.
Super job by our great production crew getting that one.
That was amazing.
Pretty good visuals on that double hit. Dave Curlis, one the cameraman that captured all that action for you. Nice going, Dave.
Cleveland Brown expert.
Now Lowry caught admiring that pitch on the outside corner, and Hamels gets his second strikeout.
Well, Lowry didn't like the call, but that thing was no doubt a strike. All the way in the strike zone, upper part of it. Lowry didn't like it, but he didn't argue. Talked about Lowry yesterday. He's walked 18 times this year already. Last year, playing every day. He walked 28 times the whole year. So generally, that's a huge increase in a walk rate. I think it's kind of rare to see a guy be able to make that kind of improvement. Corey Rasmus is doing the same thing for Houston.
Yeah, that's got to be like a leopard changing his spots.
It really is.
Pretty tough to do.
It really is. I mean, when you only walk 28 times in a whole year, you basically are an undisciplined hitter that swings at anything the pitcher throws up there. And then to go to a guy that, you know, is on pace to walk whatever, 75 or 80 times, that's just remarkable.
Isael Garcia now finds himself down in the count and a ball and 2 strikes. And again, the first 2 innings very much like a continuation of what we saw from Cole Hamels last Friday night in Detroit. Mixing pitches, mixing locations, and pitching from ahead. And that 93-mile-an-hour fastball up there had to look like probably 103.
Yeah, if he made contact with that ball, he would have shot it about 40 feet foul down the right field line. He stayed alive with that pitch, but that's basically the effect that Cole wanted. Throw a high fastball, get him to swing at it.
Got him swinging.
Got to work
foot breaking ball. Yes, he does. Back-to-back strikeouts. 3 for the afternoon. After 1.5, White Sox nothing, Rangers nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today for incredible deals and see why Ford is the best in Texas. An 86-degree afternoon here. Bright sunshine, a brisk breeze blowing in from the right field corner toward the left field corner. Adrian Beltre starting things off. And he takes a Matt Latos breaking ball for strike 1. Adrian, the team leader with 24 RBI. 5 home runs. Not much success, as you can see. 1 for 7 against Matt Latos. Adrian asking for an appeal down at first. He didn't get it. Got a called strike instead. Beltre 1 for 3, driving in a couple in last night's ball game. One ball, 2 strikes. Latos, along with a couple of different speeds of breaking ball, will mix in a split-fingered pitch, which, when he's able to get ahead of hitters, presents a lot of problems. It's a little bit off speed, but also the bottom falls out of it. Adrian turned on that a little bit and hit it up into Ian Kinsler territory.
That was so far foul. I looked up, couldn't even pick up where the ball was. I knew it went left, but not that far.
That's the exit that Kinsler used to get it into a couple times. That just down the line from third base and up 3 decks. Adam Eaton drifting back to his right a bit. 1 gone. And before Prince Fielder steps in, let's say hello to Jim Nutz.
Eddie Buzz, great crowd here at Globe Life Park this afternoon. We have Whitman Senior High School right here. All the entire senior class on hand. Raylan, what is the count here?
We have 69 of my peers with me today. It's hot and we're tired, but it beats school. Go Rangers!
There we go. Okay, very nice. And, if you have anything to say to your teachers, what would you say?
It still beats school, but I like school sometimes.
Okay, there we go. Okay, you guys have a good day. Appreciate you coming. Root the Rangers on, all right? There we go. Let's go.
Buzz, I can look at that the same way. It's hot, we're tired, but it beats working.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. 1-0 pitch to Fielder, and that is in for a strike. Can you imagine if you would have lost that game last night, how you'd feel today?
I know.
That would have sucked all the energy.
Especially after the night before.
Right, exactly. That would have been a real tough wake-up call this morning.
Yep.
2-1 to Prince. Fielder now at just 188, and he is struggling. He is the first to admit it. Said he's not swinging the bat up to his standards. Just a 172 average in his last 17 ball games. And the thing that bothers Prince most is he hasn't had any RBI production. He feels that's what he's here for, driving in runs. He says he hasn't been able to do that lately. And he'll get it turned around. There's the last 5 ball games for you, just 1 for 20. Ahead in the count here, 3-1 to Latos. Full count.
Latos has good assortment of pitches. Doesn't have a dominating fastball, but has kind of a funky delivery. Looks like it's a little tough to pick that fastball up. And he has good pitches to go along with it. Hasn't pitched as well lately as he did earlier in the season.
And he loses Fielder.
The last 2 starts, he's gone 10 innings, 5 innings in each game, but he's given up 18 hits and 8 runs. Before that, in 4 starts, he had an 0.74 ERA. He'd only given up 2 runs in 24 1/3. But the White Sox have played well behind him, even with the runs he's given up in his last 2 starts. He's still 1-0 in those 2 starts.
Now, apparently, look at Lato's numbers. He doesn't care about an early wake-up call. He's been better on the daytime. He's 3-0 in day games this year.
Huh.
And the opposition hitting under 170 against him. So apparently his ball very tough to pick up when the sun is out. There is Mitch Moreland, who had a big RBI pinch hit single last night. 0-1. Mitch right in the middle of that, coming off the bench right after Nomar Mazara pinch hit, got a walk. Loaded the bases. Mitch came up, got an RBI base hit. Drew the Rangers closer, really set up the final charge, that 7-run 8th inning. Moreland at 257. And behind in the count now, 0-2. Mitch took an 0 for 4 here on Monday night. Moreland, with last night's pinch hit RBI, has an RBI in 3 of the last 4 games. 1-2. Been swinging the bat pretty well lately. You go back over the last 2 weeks of play, 13 games. He's hit safely in 11 of them at a 304 clip. And he has driven in 11 in those 13 games. Center field, Austin Jackson ranging back to his right. 2 gone. Fielder back to first, and now it'll be up to Elvis Andrus. Well, the Rangers with a win last night, matching their season high of 4 games over 500. Still trailing the Seattle Mariners by a game and a half in the West. Opportunity today to win another series here at home. And you have gone 11-6. That despite starting the year 1-2 at Globe Life Park. Elvis a .295 average. Still looking for his first home run. Hit a ball last night that would have been his first home run, but it hooked foul by about 20 feet. Gets out of this one and a pop up to shallow left. Saladino going out, coming on Cabrera. Makes the catch, that'll do it. Rangers get a walk to fielder, but strand him. We're through 2 innings at Globe Life Park. Rangers nothing, White Sox nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Follow Rangers Baseball live. You can do it with MLB.com at Bat app. You can stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone or tablet. Bright sunshine bathing the Ranger faithful out here at Globe Life Park. Deanna Navarro starting off the 3rd inning against Cole Hamels. And the first pitch, the appeal down to first. No swing for Navarro. Deanna a .208 average as he begins things here in the 3rd inning. 1-1. Navarro's been swinging the bat pretty well of late. Took an 0 for 5 last night, but he's still been hitting nearly 300 in the last 14 games, .292. Up the middle, knocked down by Hamels. A catcher's running, so the throw, and it gets by Moreland down the right field line, and Navarro will head into second. Now Cole probably had a little more time than he thought he was going to have. And the throw was in the dirt into the runner, and Mitch couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, Mitch comes up with almost everything you throw at him. That was asking a little too much. It's a hard hit ball. Looks like it's a base hit. Cole knocks it down, scampers to get it, has to hurry the throw, and wasn't able to make it accurately enough for Mitch to handle it. You get a good look at it right here. That ball was too far into the runner and bounced too far out in front of Mitch.
So that's going to be a hit and an error on the throw to allow Navarro to get to second. Second base hit of the afternoon. You say, well, why didn't Hamels take his time? You don't think about that as a pitcher. You're not used to flagging down balls and remembering who's running. Infielders do it all the time, but pitchers, you're just happy to knock the ball down, have a chance to throw somebody out. You're in such a hurry to get it done. It's not an easy play. Tyler Saladino getting the start at shortstop. In a bunt, and pitch goes off Bobby Wilson's glove. So down to third is Deoner Navarro. I don't know whether Bobby got screened out or whether that pitch had some unexpected movement on it. He just missed it.
Yeah.
Looked like it might have had a little cutting action to it. I would assume that's going to be a pass ball charged to Bobby Wilson. Oh, now Navarro at third, nobody out. Count of 2 balls and no strikes to Saladino. 2-1 on the foul ball. Saladino making his 10th start as the shortstop this afternoon. Jimmy Rollins, the regular shortstop, being given some time off. Robin Ventura very aware of the veterans' needs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now we'll take a look at our Kubota power stats for Cole Hamels this afternoon. A 147 opponent's average with runners in scoring position. That's 5th lowest in the American League. And he's going right now for what would be his 4th strikeout. He'd love to get a punch out of the number 9 man, Saladino. Rangers playing the infield back. They will give up the run for an out. 2-2 pitch. Full count. Saladino in his last 10 ball games hitting just 154. Got him swinging.
Got him guessing for a strike on the 3-2 pitch. Got a ball and couldn't hold off.
Looked like that cutter down and in that had a lot of cut to it. Almost like a slider. Hamels gets his 4th strikeout. Saladino thought better of it, but a little too late.
Yep, couldn't stop it.
Eaton up there now. The Rangers with 1 out pull the infield all the way in. Ground ball right at Elvis. He checks the runner back to third, throws out Eaton, and there is a huge out, number 2.
Eaton loves to slap the ball the other way. Yeah, he's a tough out on this season. He's walked 16 times, only struck out 15 times. But he's going to make contact. And he finds a lot of holes by doing exactly what he did right there. Slap the ball on the ground the other way. That time with the infield in, he hit it right at Elvis. Unable to advance that runner home from third.
2 outs now. Here's Austin Jackson. 1 ball, no strikes. Jackson lifted a fly ball to right field in the 1st inning. Hamels with a 1-0. Good changeup.
Well, I guess so. You can tell the way they're swinging at that changeup. That's a quality pitch.
Hitters will sometimes talk about the glare during a day game, but you don't hear much about glare in this ballpark. Great hitter's background. I think more than anything, it'd be the unfamiliarity of hitting in daytime. Almost all the games are at night, so daytime a little bit unusual. 1-2 to Austin Jackson. Crowd now getting a rhythmic clap in support of Cole Hamels, who misses high. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cole getting ready for his 45th pitch of the afternoon. Full count.
You got him to chase the changeup the first time. That time he was able to take it.
Jackson, the number 2 hitter, to be followed by the first baseman, Jose Abreu. Elvis can't quite get it. Off his glove into center field. Navarro will score. And Austin Jackson with the RBI, his 12th of the year. The White Sox on top, 1-0.
Yeah, Jackson got off to a slow start, but last 15 games he's been a 300 hitter. Much tougher out right now. An off-speed pitch, middle of the plate. Got the good part of the bat on it. Almost a great play by Elvis. Couldn't quite make it stay in the glove.
No, Jackson at first now. And Abreu takes down and in for ball one. Abreu had an infield single his first time. Hit a slow bouncer up the middle that Elvis was able to flag down, but the off-balance throw couldn't get enough steam on it to get Abreu. 1 ball and 1 strike. Elvis kind of pounding his glove in disgust after that ball went right off the tip of it. So if you ever thought that Elvis didn't have high expectations of himself, he expected to catch that.
With Jackson running, it would have been a tall task to get up and throw it, but it was hit so hard he might have had a chance.
2-1 the count to Abreu. Beltre does a 360 and gets the force at second base. Well, that'll do it, but White Sox able to get a run on 2 hits and an error. They lead 1 after 2.5. It's now Chicago 1, Texas nothing.
The White Sox by a score of 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Cole Hamels on the mound, of course, for the Rangers today. Yesterday, he was at a Dallas school giving 2 Dallas schools grants along with the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation to help their MLB Youth Academy in Dallas. Here's what Mr. Hamels had to say about giving back.
The way that we do it, we like to make sure that it's sustainable. Best schools that we felt like that could really use the help this year. We're able to provide good curriculum and extra materials that they don't necessarily have. This is kind of something that's going to be great to be able to introduce.
And Cole especially excited to be a part of that youth academy. And I don't know if you've seen the renderings or the plans for that, guys, but it really is impressive and going to give a lot of kids the opportunity to play baseball and hopefully keep them active and out of trouble.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, that's great work being done off the field by Cole Hamels and his foundation. Also, a lot of the Rangers working in the community. Ryan Roy following up his 3-run home run last night with a base hit to lead off the Ranger third here today.
Well, he says to Jeff Bannister, thanks for the start today against the right-hander. I'll pay it off. But comes right back after the game-winning homer and maybe starts a rally here in the 3rd inning.
Well, 1 on, nobody out. Bobby Wilson now, the Ranger catcher, and number 9 hitter will step in. Rangers, you might have noticed, Delino DeShields out of the lineup today. Moved Rougned Odor back to the leadoff spot. Bobby Wilson hitting ninth without Delino on the order. Bobby a .400 average with the Rangers. Of course, he had that huge grand slam on Sunday in Detroit. Or on Saturday, excuse me. No, it was Sunday. Take it back. Sunday. Rangers coming back against the Tigers bullpen after Verlander had shut him down for 7. No balls, 2 strikes. Bobby, including his time with Detroit this year, a .286 average. 6 for 15 since coming back home to the Rangers. 5 RBI and 2 walks in the 4 games. That's going to fall for a base hit in front of Austin Jackson.
0-2 pitch.
Lato's not able to execute what he had in mind, and Bobby Wilson made him pay for it. Back-to-back singles open up the Ranger third.
They swung and missed it a couple of pitches. Maybe went into a 2-strike mode. Serves it on a line into center field. That was a ball the last 2 nights probably would have carried all the way to the outfield. Yeah. The way those line drives were carrying the first 2 games. And Bobby hit one of them to left field. Almost handcuffed Melky Cabrera out there first night. Nice night last night for Brian Holiday. Bobby Wilson getting the start this afternoon, and he's off to a good start with a bat.
Now, first and second for the Rangers. Rougned Odor now for the 2nd time this afternoon. The Ranger leadoff hitter grounded sharply to third to start things back in the 1st. Now, time called, and Navarro going to go out and have a little chat with Matt Latos. And while we have a second of game with Rougned at the plate, how about our TXU Energy Power Player to watch? And it would be no surprise, it's the man in your screen right there. As soon as we can get that up, we will show you the information. We'll get that to you in just a second. Conference concluded. And now Latos set to go to work. Showing bunt that had Frazier coming down the line a bit at third. First and second, the third baseman's kind of the traffic cop. He has to read the ball coming off the bat if there is a bunt, determine whether the pitcher can field it or whether he has to go get it.
He's going to lure the third baseman and then smash one right by him.
Had that in mind.
Yeah, I don't think Rugi's going to be bunting in this situation. He's right now probably as big a threat to drive in a run as anybody in the lineup.
I mean, just because he's second on the team in RBI,
yeah, I think that's got
310 or whatever it is now, 307.
You got Frazier to move in front of the bag, which might open up a little alley for him to shoot a ground ball into left field.
You got Rue at second, Wilson at first. Popped up, foul. Navarro over to take a look, but that'll be back about 4 rows. Nice afternoon here in mid-May in Globe Life Park at Arlington.
Good crowd too.
Yeah, nice crowd on hand for a Wednesday afternoon. Had weather day out here earlier. Appropriate. Could have had it last night. Rain delay of an hour and 17 minutes or so, and a lot of lightning and wind and what have you. A few folks out here enjoying Dollar Hot Dog Day too. It's like 1-2 to Odor. Back to Latos to second, and that's all they'll get.
Well, fortunately, he threw it to second and not to third. He wasn't going to turn a double play. If you're going to get a force out in that situation, you might as well get the lead runner.
Right.
Now the Rangers have a man on third base and less than 2 outs and better chance to sneak a run in.
Yeah, and that's something a pitcher has to think about before having a little tapper like that. That's something you work on in spring training all the time, making that decision, but having the forethought of knowing which way you want to go if the ball's hit sharply or hit softly. And Latos didn't execute that very well.
Now with Odor running and a softly hit ball, they're not going to get a double play.
The 1 out, runners at the corners. Ian Desmond, a fly ball to right his first time.
Take another one right here.
There goes Odor. Pitch is a strike. No throw to second base. Rugdet, a huge jump. And Deanna Navarro said, nah, not going to bother.
Now Desmond took the pitch. He knew Odor was right in front of him. Knew Odor got a good jump. Took the pitch, let him steal second. Now drop one in for a base hit and pick up a couple of runs.
Yeah, Latos has tried to speed up his motion a little bit, but at 6 feet 6 inches tall, he's had a lot to unwind. Line drive, base hit to right field. Rule will score. Odor had to wait to make sure that the ball was going to go through, and the throw went over everybody from Adam Eaton, so into second goes Desmond. It's a tie ball game. The Rangers have runners at second and third with still just 1 out.
Yeah, the last guy that hits the ball that you want to make an ill-advised bad throw to the plate, it's Ian Desmond. As soon as Eaton let go of that ball, he's a good outfielder too. He knew he made a bad throw. And as soon as Desmond saw it go over a cutoff man's head, he just scampered right down to second base. The Rangers have the same situation now. No double play in order. Second and third, still 1 out. A nice job of taking the ball the other way. Swinging a great bat right now. You mentioned Buzz, his average was as high as it's been all season. And a sharp line drive to right field. Good series for Ian. Oh, be careful, Ruby.
Yeah. Odor on his secondary lead got a little too far down the line.
Let's see what we're talking about. Desmond hits the ball. It's a single. He watches the throw. Sees it goes off at over the cutoff man's head and said, fine, I'll take the extra base.
Pretty sound fundamental baseball.
Yeah, he's a fun player to watch play. I'm glad we got him.
Mazzara drives one to right center. Jackson to his left makes the catch. Tagging at third is Odor. The throw going to third. Odor scores. Rangers grab the lead. It's now 2-1 as Mazzara drives in his 12th of the year.
That's exactly what you're looking for in that situation. Make solid contact. Get the ball up in the air. Pick up that run.
Well, Mazzara, who had singled his first time, hit a rocket. It looked like that ball was going to travel a little better than it did, but it was plenty deep enough to score Odor and allow Desmond to move up. Well, the Rangers have shown that when the opposition, and primarily the White Sox, when they score a run, it's like waving a red flag in front of a bull. They just come right back and are charging all over the place.
Yeah, with the big innings that the Rangers have had, if you're the White Sox, you got to be thinking, uh-oh, let's stop the bleeding here. Keep it from becoming a 5-run inning.
2 balls, no strikes to Adrian. Beltre flied out to right. Back in the second. Well, the Rangers a couple of runs on 3 hits in this inning. Got in on the fist, and Saladino with the throw gets Beltre by a step. That'll do it. But Rangers gain the lead. They get 2 runs on 3 hits and leave 1. After 3, it's the Rangers 2 and the White Sox 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. It's time for our T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball. We are going to cover the comeback that is in vogue with your Texas Rangers Saturday in Detroit. Adrian Beltre and company. Adrian 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 4 RBI. Then it was Sunday. Bobby Wilson, a grand slam home run when he went 3 for 4. And last night, how about Ryan Rua getting the start, and he crunched a 3-run home run to center field, but the Rangers on top 13-11. Frazier drives one deep left field. We've got a tie ball game, and Frazier has hit his 3rd home run of this series.
Frazier's a veteran guy, and he's hot right now. He struck out the first time up on a changeup. Really fooled him on the 3-2 pitch. He was way out in front of it. And I'm not saying he went up there looking for it, but after seeing it in the first at bat, he was a little bit better prepared to hit an off-speed pitch.
And he reached out. He got a good part of the wood on it.
He gets a changeup, it looked like, but instead of down and away like the one he missed, this one's in the middle of the plate. He was able to make contact with it.
And now Melky Cabrera hits one into the gap in left center. He will hold on as Desmond and Rua converge. Rua getting to the ball quickly. And back-to-back base hits. The home runner now a single. Well, he has been hot as Todd Frazier in this series. Got him going. He was 0 for everything when he came in. But that 2 home run game the first night in. And he has piled up home runs and RBI in this series.
Knocked in 10 runs in the 3 games. Got a long way to go in this one.
Brett Lowry takes one down at his shoe tops. Todd Frazier. Big acquisition in the offseason from Cincinnati. Lowry called out on strikes his first time. He takes strike 1 here and evens the count. A lot of folks around the White Sox talking about Todd Frazier one more time, that Frazier has been a big part of the White Sox resurgence. They said his presence in the clubhouse, the character that he has, and the hard-nosed attitude, said just exactly what the White Sox needed. They'd gotten a little, maybe complacent as far as their competitive edge. And Todd Frazier said, we'll have none of that. 1-2 pitch. Count evens. Lowry with his Count Dracula look on this afternoon. Left center field. That ball's hit well up the alley. Way back and gone into the bullpen as Brett Lowry. It's his 5th home run of the year. A 2-run shot, and the White Sox take a 4-2 lead.
Boy, this is kind of a dramatic turn of events here in the 4th inning. 3 straight well-hit balls, 2 home runs, and a line shot single. Low fastball. Center square, though, of the bottom part of the strike zone. Lowry put a charge in it. Nice catch in the bullpen, too. Barehanded.
Now Garcia, it's a slow 2-hopper down to Beltre. That is out number 1. Well, Cole Hamels had allowed a total of 4 home runs in his 6 starts coming into today. And Brett Lowry's home run into the bullpen. A barehanded catch out there makes it 2 given up in this inning by Hamels. Now 1 away, Deanna Navarro now the catcher. Infield single and a run scored in the 3rd. Navarro now. The average at 218. Right down at his shoe tops, 2-0.
Navarro says it, saying it hit him, maybe.
Might be. Robin Ventura is going to come out. Both going to have a little chat with Ben May, the home plate umpire. May explaining to Navarro that he didn't think it hit him.
Yeah, you got to be a pretty good umpire to be able to see a ball hit the corner of a shoe and the dirt at the same time, if that's what happened. All you can do is ask for help, take a look at it. I don't know how you're going to be able to tell that on a replay.
Unless you can see the shoe polish on the ball.
Unless you go by the reaction of Navarro. Pretty tough to see whether the ball hit the shoe.
Well, Robin Ventura is going to issue the challenge, so they will take a look at it. Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, and Ben May, the home plate umpire, will get hooked up on the headsets to Replay Command Center. This is probably the most definitive look we can get, and you can't tell because his front foot or front leg blocks out the view of where the ball hit.
Yeah, you know, it's you have to give, I think, Navarro the benefit of the doubt that he's not going to fake that. But at the same time, if you look at it in replay, it's hard to definitively say that that ball didn't hit him, that ball hit him.
Clear and convincing evidence is what is needed to overturn that.
There's the best shot we have. And I don't know that you can say that you're positive that ball hit him. Now, his reaction would tell you that it hit him.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he was acting. I don't think he was, but I don't think you can see that that ball hit him.
Yeah, the ball didn't, from that shot, the ball didn't deviate so that it completely missed Bobby Wilson's glove.
No.
You can't say that from that angle that the ball changed directions.
Yeah, it definitely got more dirt than anything else. I think if you overturn this and say it hit him, you're kind of buying into his reaction after the ball went by him.
Jeff Nelson getting set to take off the mask and said nope. And Ben May, the home plate umpire, explaining to Keanu Navarro, we didn't have enough video evidence to overturn that, or they didn't back in New York.
Yeah, there's nothing Navarro can say. Yeah. I think Navarro knows in the back of his mind that it hit him in the foot, but if it doesn't show it on the replay, there's not much you can do about it. I don't think he was faking.
I don't think he can react that quickly.
No, I don't either.
Just for good measure, he hit himself in the same foot.
I think that one hit him too.
And he's going to tell the home plate umpire, Ben May, see, I told you, got hit twice.
This one got the front foot.
Ooh. So now the right toe and the left ankle are both barking at him. 2-1 pitch. And he rips one down the line, headed toward the corner. Rua over to cut it off. He does, and the throw into second not in time as sore-footed Keanu Navarro. His second hit of the afternoon, a one-out double. Well, and all of a sudden in this inning, Cole Hamels has lost that touch, lost that feel that he had for the past 9 innings.
Yeah, there's been well-hit base hits, 2 home runs, a double, and 2 singles. 5 out of the last 7 hitters have all struck the ball solidly.
And Tyler Saladino fouls off that first pitch. Saladino went down swinging in the third. The White Sox now 4 runs on 7 hits. They have 4 of those 7 hits in this frame. 2 of them home runs. A ball and a strike. You look at Cole Hamels and say, he missed maybe on 1 out of every 20 pitches for a 9-inning span, 7 in Detroit, and the first 2 innings here. First 3 innings, really. You got to be out there scratching your head, say, what in the world happened? All of a sudden, the location is just not what Cole had become accustomed to.
Yeah, and it's kind of a bad time to do it with the White Sox. Early in the season, they weren't hitting anything, but they're swinging the bats now. They've got a lot of guys swinging the bats well.
Saladino down on strikes for the second time. That's out number 2, and it brings up Adam Eaton. And before Eaton steps in, let's send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. Boy, the Twins really struggling out of the gates this year. 8-24, trailing only the Atlanta Braves, who are 7-24 in Major League Baseball. 1-0 pitch to Eaton. 2 balls, no strikes. Eaton twice has grounded out, once to second and once to short. Doug Brocail going to trot out to the mound and may have spotted something. He's going to check with Cole Hamels to see, can you feel what I'm seeing? A lot of times a pitcher will get out of sync in his mechanics and not be able to pinpoint exactly what was going on. A pitching coach, to me, the most important facet of a pitching coach during a ball game is to, when you get out of whack a little bit, he knows what to go out and tell you to get you back into sync, whether your body's out in front or you're flying open with your front shoulder, or not extending toward the plate. Pitching coach come out and say that little word or phrase that'll get you right back into it. Hopefully. It's on the outside corner, 2-1. Navarro at second base, and Hamels back to Eaton. Odor to Moreland, and that will do it. But Thunder struck twice for the White Sox. Todd Frazier a solo blast. Brett Lowry a 2-run shot. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 4-2 Chicago. All the pyromaniacs out there, we got a perfect season ticket package for you. The Friday Fireworks 9 game plan guarantees you tickets to 9 Friday night games and postseason fireworks, plus a 10th game absolutely free. This package includes an exclusive postseason pre-sale opportunity and the ability to exchange one game in your plan for a Sunday through Thursday non-premier game. To secure your Pyro pack, just call 972-RANGERS or visit TexasRangers.com/fireworks. Well, Rangers put it in comeback mode again. They trail 4-2 as Prince Fielder leads things off here in the fourth inning. And Matt Latos missing low for ball one. Fielder drew a walk from Latos. You know, and something else, Tom, that I felt kind of got lost in last night's ball game. Rangers had scored a couple of runs. Frazier going over and reaches into the crowd, knocks down a fan. And did he catch it?
He got hurt. Whatever
Boy,
happened.
He got hit right in the nose, it looks like.
Boy, he hit the guy.
Yeah.
Looked like a big guy. He hit him head on diving into the stands.
Now, time's going to be called
I
here,
think it was
obviously.
I think it was the guy in the blue shirt.
Yeah.
Sturdy guy. And he dove head first into him.
Looked like he knocked him straight back. I couldn't tell what happened to Frazier. Kind of bounced through it and see if he hits that back of that chair down there, back of the seat down there.
Oh, boy.
Man. You talk about being in a vulnerable position, diving in like that.
That's just giving up your body. That's a cement wall that he's diving into to begin with that he dove over.
Wow. Well, hopefully Todd Frazier's going to be okay. It was a good thing he was able to get up and run into the dugout. At least we know that he wasn't unconscious or anything. But boy, that's a scary deal. Completely laid out going after that foul ball, and he is headed down into the dugout to be tended to. So Carlos Sanchez has come onto the field now. Will take Todd Frazier's place, and we will let you know when we get word on the condition of Todd Frazier. Oh boy,
I can't even watch that.
Yeah, that's. If you're at all squeamish about things, that's not a good one to focus on. 1-1 pitch to Fielder, rope to left center field. That is in the gap, and it's going to roll for a while, all the way to the wall. And Prince Fielder in standing with a leadoff double. Now, that's the first ball that Prince has really driven that way in a week or so.
Well, you know, we talked about Prince off to a slow start batting average wise, and he has said the same thing, but sooner or later the big guy is going to get hot, and maybe that line drive right there will get him started. Nice job of going with a tailing fastball, a little bit outside, staying with it, not trying to pull it, and driving it the other way. That was a good swing and a well hit ball.
No thought of rolling over on that one.
No. You got a track record, and every time you've hit 188 for 100 at bats, it probably means you're about ready to hit 388 for the next 100 at bats. Hopefully that's the case.
Well, Mitch Moreland now, an opportunity with Fielder at second base, nobody out. Moreland flied out to center, his first time up. Rangers trailing by a couple here in the fourth inning. And ball two. Latos missing up. What I was saying before we saw Frazier get hurt about Prince Fielder, that at bat that Prince had last night in that eighth inning, after a couple of runs that the Rangers had pulled within one, they had Desmond at third base and 2 outs. Fielder drew a 4-pitch walk from Matt Albers. Albers showed no inclination at all to throw him any strikes. Missed on a couple of close pitches. And that really set up Ryan Rua's 3-run home run.
Yeah, and luckily Buzz Prince showed no inclination to offer at the 10 pitches out of the zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Had a patient at bat.
A 3-0 to Mitch. He may have the green light here. Takes it just outside, ball 4. Well, the double followed by a walk. There are 2 aboard, and Elvis Andrus stepping in. Latos walks fewer than 3 hitters per 9 innings. He's walked a couple here this afternoon. Let's see if the Rangers can make him pay for this latest pass. Elvis flied out to left field back in the second inning. Elvis still among the league leaders in hitting with runners in scoring position. He's still 7th, 407 average, but he's 0 for his last 5. It'd be a good time for him to snap that mini slump. 1 ball, no strikes, and now Latos having trouble getting the ball down. Now Latos, yeah, Don Cooper's going to go out and talk to him. Or, that's Robin Ventura, excuse me. Latos last year ran into all kinds of problems mechanically. He moved from the Miami Marlins to the Los Angeles Dodgers to the LA Angels, and his mechanics really suffered. He'd go through periods of up to 2 weeks without getting into a ball game. Just wasn't pitching effectively, and then he didn't pitch at all. And said he just couldn't find any consistent rhythm whatsoever. Worked very diligently in the offseason. Signed with the White Sox, and obviously that 5-0 record would tell you he's thrown extremely well here in the early part of 2016. Popped up. Sanchez right at the railing.
Do it.
He's not going to lean in too far. The reason he's in the ball game is his predecessor at third, Todd Frazier, took a plunge into the seats. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Rangers with Fielder at second, Moreland at first. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The second, back to first, and pulls Abreu off the bag, and Elvis is safe.
Well, that's a huge break. That looked like a pretty routine double play that turned into 1st and 3rd instead.
Yeah, Lowry had plenty of time, got the ball early enough. Moreland wasn't really anywhere near him. He just made a bad throw.
That's a perfect throw.
Nope, just missed. Play being held up while the White Sox study the video upstairs. See if there's a reason for challenging. Yeah, they determined no, there is not. So 1st and 3rd now. My mistake. The challenge was already used up on that foul tip or foul. The hit of Navarro's foot, hit or miss at Navarro's foot. So the White Sox out of challenges. They can ask the umpires to review it if they would. That's up to the umpires and their discretion. Well, here's Rua. Ryan singled and scored in the 3rd inning. Time called just before Latos was spinning to throw to first.
Yeah, that throw back by Lowry doesn't go as an error. They got an out, but that was a routine double play. See if the Rangers can take advantage of it right here. Lowry's played some great defense against the Rangers. That was not an example of it right there, though. White Sox as a team much better defensively this year than past years, recent past years.
0-1 the count to Rua. Little broken bat looper down to first, and Abreu will take care of that for the 2nd out. Well, Rua got sawed off by Latos. Now Bobby Wilson coming up.
Well, that's a nice movement on it. By the time he made contact, it was almost off the hands.
Put a hinge in that handle.
Well, they miss an opportunity. 3rd base, 1 out. See if they can pick something up with 2 outs right here.
Now Bobby Wilson singled to left center field on an 0-2 pitch. His first time up there. The first pitch is right at the top of the strike zone. 0-1. Bobby, that .438 average now with the Rangers. A home run, 5 driven in. There goes Elvis, and the pitch is outside, and Elvis just strolls into second base with the stolen base. Well, you got 2 runners in scoring position for Wilson. One and 2 now. You know, the catchers for the Rangers, they have been very offensively inclined lately. Look at Brian Holiday, the last 3 starts, 5 for 11, a double, triple, and home run, 4 RBI. Bobby Wilson, the last 4 starts, 6 for 15, with a home run, including a grand salami, and 5 RBI. Saladino on to Abreu, and that'll do it. Well, the Rangers get a walk and a double, but strand a couple. We're going to go to the 5th inning now. The White Sox 4, the Rangers 2 on Fox Sports Southwest. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Austin Jackson stepping in to lead off the top of the 5th inning. Cole Hamels back to the hill. Jackson 1 for 2 this afternoon with an RBI single. And Cole drops in that curveball for strike 1. Jackson now with the average up to 246. The RBI is 12th of the season. A good breaking ball. White Sox 4 runs on 7 hits. Rangers 2 runs on 5 hits. A ball and 2 strikes. White Sox coming into play today with the best record in the American League and the best road record in the American League. They're 23-11 at the start of play. Have a 5-game bulge in the Central Division. Robin Ventura's club 13-6 on the road. The only team with a better road record would be the Northsiders, the Cubs. Right now, Chicago's got a stranglehold on Major League Baseball. Cubs an 8-game winning streak. Payoff pitch. Scoreboard had a 3-2. Unless they change the rules. might have.
Gonna give him 5 balls this time.
Yeah. Still only 3 strikes you get, and Jackson is gone. Strikeout number 6 for Cole Hamels.
First baseman Jose
He runs that slider down and in. Good strikeout pitch. No walks for Cole today to go along with the 6 strikeouts. White Sox mixed in some hard hit balls in the 4th inning.
And if Jackson was any indication, Cole's come out mastering that breaking ball again to get ahead. Here's Abreu, who's 1 for 2. Got him on the fist. And that pop-up is going to go back on top of the, just missed the top of the Ranger dugout. Down into the steps. 0-1. Young man is all set to go with that glove in hand. I would have had that if they'd let me get on the dugout roof.
Dad's got one too. It's a good looking glove too. Big glove.
1 ball and 1 strike. Abreu a .248 average. Two and 1. And evens the count. And again, Hamels going to the changeup in a good hitter's count at 2 and 1. Gets the foul tip. Three balls, 2 strikes. Abreu batting 3rd in the order. He'll be followed by Carlos Sanchez. Sanchez taking Todd Frazier's place. Payoff pitch from Hamels. Came swinging.
He just kept going with it off speed. Eventually got one where he needed to get it, and Abreu couldn't hit it.
Third baseman Carlos Sanchez.
Hamels Heroes section out there. The T-shirts, the K cards. Do you, as a hitter, keep saying to yourself, he's got to throw me a fastball?
Unfortunately, that's what a lot of hitters will say. But you know, it's very tough to look for a changeup when you have 2 strikes.
Sure.
If you get it, fine, but if you don't, you have no chance to hit it anything hard.
Sanchez loops it out of play down the right side. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sanchez just 7 at bats this season. He was 1 for 7 with an RBI. Odor glides to his left. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Hamel and the Rangers. We played half the ball game at Globe Life Park. It's the White Sox leading the Rangers 4-2. Odor stepping in. And Odor, our TXU Energy power player to watch. Last 11 ball games for Odor, a .407 average, 6 doubles, 4 home runs, 7 RBI, 12 runs, multiple hits in 9 games of those 11. He also has multiple hits in 5 straight. And he takes strike 1 here. Odor has hit leadoff for most of those games. He did bat second yesterday. Didn't seem to faze him too much. Another multi-hit game, and takes that pitch in the dirt.
The one thing the White Sox, they've got the shift on, but they've got the third baseman playing a lot closer after the bunt the other day than was the case. So he can't bunt to lead off an inning right here. Well, Latos has 88 to 90 mile an hour fastball, velocity wise below average, but he's got a delivery that has deception in it and good movement on his fastball. Kind of straight over the top, and it tails away to a lefty and into a right-hander.
Yeah, another one of those big guys that doesn't throw nearly as hard as it looks like he should.
Not fun to face. You can tell the Rangers are hitting a lot of balls off the bad part of the bat today.
Yeah. 2-2 to Odor. Skied to right field. Easy play for Adam Eaton. 1 gone. Here's what the view a hitter gets of Latos' motion.
So if you're a hitter, you see his glove comes up high. The ball comes from behind his head, and it's not easy to see the ball, and therefore it gets in on you a little quicker. Some guys display the ball in a way where you see it all the way, and it's much easier to time them. Latos is not like that.
Now here's Desmond. Had an RBI single his last time up. Now 18 runs driven in for Ian. Drove in 3 last night in a 2-for-5 evening. Now a 6-game hitting streak. Latos with 68 pitches under his belt. Matt has allowed 4 runs in each of the last 2 starts. He has seen his ERA balloon from .074 to his current .262. And he's only been able to finish 5 innings in each of those 2 starts. 1-1 pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Desmond, the most at bats against Latos of any Ranger in the ball game today. Ian came in 7 for 23, so he's now 8 for 25. That would be about a .320 average, I believe. 3-1 the count in this at bat. And he lost him. Desmond draws the 1-out walk. Nomar Mazara coming up as the potential tying run. Before Nomar steps in, let's send it over to John Radigan for a Chevy game break.
Nomar Mazara.
All right, John, thank you. Here it's the White Sox leading the Rangers 4-2. Rangers have Ian Desmond at first with 1 out. Nomar Mazara 1 for 1, a single and a sacrifice fly. Takes outside for ball 1. Mazara, the American League Rookie of the Month for April. Got his award last night, Mike Daly of the Ranger front office presenting him that before the award before the game. There goes Desmond. The pitch is low. The throw is late. And Desmond with a steal of second. Now, Ian has gotten his running game in order. That's his 6th stolen base of the year.
had a little daylight there, but
sure
the glove came off of him. What a great camera shot. If he was somehow able to keep the glove on Ian all the way, might have gotten a call. Jeff Qualis with a shot. Nice going, Jeff. The other side of it is, if he called him safe, they wouldn't have been able to review it anyway, though.
Well, Desmond now in scoring position. Down to 3 balls and no strikes to Mazzara. Now 3-1. Omar batting third in the lineup today. Adrian Beltre, the Ranger third sacker, is next. Melendez has given the Rangers a few opportunities. Let's see if they can cash in here in the 5th. And ball 4, 2 aboard for Beltre. Back-to-back walks. And Robin Ventura and Don Cooper, go out there and tell him something. I don't care what it is, just tell him something.
Tell him not to walk the next guy. Art Fowler used to walk out to the mound when he was working for Billy Martin. Billy would tell Art to go out and talk to the pitcher in this situation. And Art would just go out and say, throw strikes. Billy's getting mad and Babe Ruth's dead. And trot back. Well, no, he wouldn't trot back. He'd walk back to the dugout.
Well, we have a second here. We'd like to remind you the Rangers play the Toronto Blue Jays this Saturday. First 15,000 fans at the park that day receive a Rougned Odor bobblehead. That's courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Kroger. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets today. And be sure to wear your red out Friday through Sunday. Red out the ballpark against those nasty Blue Jays. The conference is concluded. Whatever message Don Cooper took out there has been delivered. Adrian Beltre 0 for 2 this afternoon. A fly ball to right, a ground ball to short. Ian Desmond at second base. Omar Mazzara is at first. One ball and no strikes. Beltre's average now 279, as you can see. And Ian has been one of the hotter hitters lately with runners in scoring position. He's gone 10 for his last 17. And he wasn't thinking about a base hit.
He was going for the lead.
Yeah. He had visions of that ball landing in Grand Prairie someplace. Latos okays the sign. High fly ball, just got under it a bit. Jackson with the catch. Desmond will tag, head over to third. He is in as the ball is cut off. There are now 2 outs with runners at first and third for Prince Fielder. Pretty good sound off the bat of Beltre. Got that way up in the air and stay in the ballpark. Adrian not real happy with that outcome.
Well, Prince has had a walk and a line shot double to the gap in left center field. You mentioned the walk he had last night, so he's eyeballing the ball. And he ripped the good pitch he had to hit. Try to keep it going right here in the 5th. Rangers have been coming from behind in the series pretty regularly. See if they can do it again right here.
That double that Fielder had, just his second hit in 12 career at bats against Matt Latos, and he takes strike 1. There's that double we are speaking of. Great job, and he really powered that ball right through the alley. No balls and a strike here. Going the other way again. That is down the line.
Fair.
Cabrera never saw it. Desmond scores. Mazzara being waved around. Cabrera tosses the ball in. A 2-run double for Prince Fielder. The Rangers have come back to tie it at 4. And I don't think Melky Cabrera ever saw that ball. The way he reacted, it was like, where did the ball go?
He's playing out in left center field. Prince lofted that exactly where he needed to loft a softly hit ball to find a hole. Not hit quite as hard as his other double, but probably more effective with a couple of men on base. By the time Cabrera gets to it, there's nothing he can do. Both runs score. You'll see him coming into the picture eventually. It took him a while to get there.
No, Rangers again coming back. Now here's Mitch Moreland. Check swing for ball one.
I'll take it. You don't have to smile, Prince. That's a
Yeah.
line drive tomorrow. You know, and if you're Latos, you say, man, little blooper scored 2 runs. Well, the 2 runs that scored are the 2 guys you walked.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's funny how that works out, too.
Two balls, no strikes. Moreland has walked and fly to center field. Well, the Rangers now 4 runs on 6 hits. White Sox 4 runs, 7 hits. And they're going to intentionally walk Mitch Moreland. Mitch, of course, had the pinch hit RBI single last night. And Robin Ventura figuring after Latos fell behind 2 balls and no strikes, go ahead and put him on and start a new count with Elvis Andrus, a right-handed hitter. With the intentional walk, and how about the highest averages at home in the American League? Rangers behind Boston. Boston almost a 300 hitting team at Fenway, but the Rangers are 278. Are second in the American League. The American League average 248.
Yeah, the Red Sox are only 10-7 at home, so they're pounding the ball, but so is the team they're playing. Well, see Elvis, I'd like to see him try to go to right field right here, hit a line drive. He's tried to pull the ball the first couple of times up. A little over anxious right there. Go back to that stroke earlier in the year when he was hitting 340, over 400 with men in scoring position. He was going back through the middle, not hitting the ball in the air, line drives, ground balls. Be a good spot for that right here. Shoot one right down the right field line.
Rangers with Fielder at second, Moreland at first. White Sox playing just about straight away, maybe a step around to the left for Elvis. 1 ball and 1 strike. Elvis, despite having 3 multi-hit games in his last 5 contests, still just hitting .214 over the last 11 ball games. Chopper to third, and right near the bag, Sanchez steps on third. That'll do it, but the Rangers come back. A 2-out, 2-run double by Prince Fielder ties the ball game. We'll head to the 6th. Deadlock at 4 on Fox Sports Southwest. on out to Globe Life Park this Sunday. You can enjoy a post-game concert from Toby Mac. It's presented by Buckner International. Concert will follow the 2:05 first pitch against the Toronto Blue Jays. You can get your game tickets and field pass to watch the concert on the field at texasrangers.com/concerts. And don't forget, wear your red out. We are going to red out Globe Life Park this weekend. Well, a brand new ball game as Melky Cabrera starts things here in the 6th inning for the White Sox. Cabrera has singled and scored and grounded to second. 1 out of 2 officially. And Cole Hamels missing with the first 2 pitches. Cabrera, a .307 batting average. And he's ahead in the count, 3-0.
Cole has not walked a batter in the game. Last time the Rangers scored a couple, White Sox came back and got 3 in the 4th inning. There you go.
3-1 as Tony Barnett loosens in support in the Ranger bullpen. Hard hit through the hole for a base hit. No, Cabrera, a leadoff single. Now Brett Lowry.
Second baseman Brett Lowry.
Eighth base hit of the afternoon given up by Cole Hamels. Lowry, a 2-run blast. He got out of here into the bullpen his last time up. 5th home run of the year. Lowry now 16 RBI. Cole drops that breaking ball in. Rangers looking for that double play grounder. 0-2. Lowry, as usual, faring very well against left-handers. He came in hitting .417 this year against southpaw pitching, and he's gone on strikes.
Lowry's he's a high-energy guy, and I mentioned earlier that he'd walked 18 times already this year, which is way past his walk rate previously to this season. Yet sometimes he goes up there and you can just tell he's hyper and he's looking to hit. And if you throw him a strike, he'll kill it. If you don't, he's going to swing anyway. That was just one of those at-bats. It's not typical of the at-bats that he's had for most of the season.
Yeah.
But in that situation, it was. It's what he was going to do.
Now 1 out. Avisail Garcia takes high for ball 1. We have information for you on Todd Frazier. He had a laceration to his lower lip. It required 5 stitches, and he is listed as day-to-day.
Glad he's okay.
Yeah.
It looked terrible. It's too bad he had to come out of the game, but that shouldn't be too big a problem for Todd. And boy, you see a guy play that hard and dive into the stands. That's inspirational to his teammates, probably inspirational to the guys on the other team watching that effort.
You're right.
And fortunately, it was not something serious that will require him to miss a lot of time, you wouldn't think.
Garcia on the foul ball now has a 1-2 count.
That brings back memories of the Derek Jeter dive into the stands at Yankee Stadium. And not much different between the 2 dives. Jeter actually caught the ball, but same thing could have happened to him when you dive into the stands. It didn't.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Garcia today has struck out and grounded to third. Yeah.
Sorry. 100 pitches for Cole.
Chopped slowly to third. Beltre's only play is to first, and he throws wide of the bag. Moreland had to come off to make the catch, and everybody's safe.
Well, it's going to go down as Adrian's first error of the season, I think.
Yep, it is. They had a scoring change on a play in Detroit that went from an error to Beltre back to a base hit, and this one will be the first error of the year. First error going back to the middle of September of last year.
Adrian doesn't throw on the run often unless he has to. He likes to catch the ball, plant his feet, and throw. Probably didn't have time to do it on that one. But for him, that's just a ball that got away from him. That's an easy play for Adrian.
It's the second Ranger error of the afternoon. They came in with the second fewest errors in the American League. But they've added 2 to their total now. So first and second with 1 out.
You go 34 and a half games without an error. You had an amazing streak.
The 44 errorless games, we understand, is the second longest of Adrian Beltre's career. Well, you have to start a new streak.
Yeah, get a ground ball right here and bail him out.
Deoner Navarro has had an infield single and a double to the left. 2 balls, no strikes. Cole had the 1 inning where he really struggled in the 4th. Gave up 2 home runs in a span of 3 hitters. Had a very simple 5th inning, a 1-2-3 inning. Now he's struggling again with the command aspect of his pitching. 2-1 to Navarro. It's one of those days where the last 3 innings has kind of been potpourri for Cole Hamels. Not really sure what he's going to get. 2-2. Inning by inning. 3rd and 4th. 4th inning is the one we're talking about where he struggled. Both 21 pitch innings. Got him swinging. And Navarro hoping for something coming back over the plate, didn't get it.
He was a little over anxious too. He had a couple of hard hit balls, a smash off Cole's glove and a double, but not this at bat. Cole worked him over pretty good. Brought that cut fastball near the outside corner, and here's the result.
9th strikeout, so tying his season high from last week in Detroit. 9 punch outs. 2 away, Tyler Saladino.
Cole's had no walks, 9 strikeouts. Latos has had no strikeouts and 5 walks. And the score is 4-4, so they're even.
Yeah, and they're both undefeated. Going after it a little bit different way here this afternoon. Saladino has struck out both times that he's faced Hamels. Cole falls behind now, 2-0. I would kind of suspect Cole up at the 107 pitches. This might be his last hitter. Two and one on the check swing foul. Hamels in his last outing in Detroit had a season high 113 pitches in 7 innings. The left-hander with a 2-1 pitch, instead a little inside move, and that sent Milky Cabrera sprawling back to second base. A little sheepish grin, considering he was the only one in the vicinity.
When you start your dive, though, you're not sure about that.
Yeah, that's true. Now 3 balls and a strike. Saladino hitting in that number 9 slot. Adam Eaton, the leadoff man, is in the on-deck circle. First and second with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. Yeah, Bobby Wilson's going to go out and make sure he understands what Cole's thinking. A lot of times you have a day like this and Cole Hamels is probably going on feel as much as anything else. And if catchers calling pitches according to what they talked about before the game, the scouting reports, sometimes that feel and what you want to call as a catcher do not match up. So Bobby going to remove any of the guesswork and just go out there and ask Cole. See what they came up with. Line drive to center field. Desmond coming on. He tries to scoop it. Can't come up with it. Around third in to score is Melky Cabrera. On to third is Garcia, and the White Sox back on top. It is 5-4 Chicago. Now Saladino with the RBI single, a 2-out run scoring base hit, and that's going to do it for Cole Hamels. Slow walk out to the mound for Jeff Bannister, and Cole Hamels at the 110 pitch mark will be finished for the afternoon. He goes 5 2/3 innings. Tony Barnett being summoned from the Ranger bullpen. We have a pitching change underway here at Globe Life Park. We'll be back right after this timeout on Fox Sports Southwest. Open for the 2016 MLB All-Star Game. Visit TexasRangers.com/vote and vote for your Rangers as your favorite team, and you'll get an offer for 50% off tickets for select games in August or September. Vote today, vote tomorrow, vote only online. Vote for your Rangers at TexasRangers.com/vote. Tony Barnett, the 32-year-old rookie right-hander. On now, he inherits runners at the corners with 2 outs. He will face Adam Eaton. Eaton is grounded out 3 times. All of those off Cole Hamels today. 1 ball and no strikes. Barnett last saw Tony 2 days ago. He was in the opener, worked 2/3 of an inning against the White Sox. This is 16th appearance of the year. Hit him. That cut fastball just kept cutting, and Eaton had nowhere to go. That'll load the bases for Austin Jackson.
Center fielder Austin Jackson.
He wanted to get it in, got it in a little too far. Well, at least it sets up a righty-righty confrontation to try to get that last out. Keep it a 1-run game.
Austin Jackson, a 1-for-3 afternoon with an RBI single. No balls and a strike. Jackson's RBI came back in the 3rd inning. He had a 2-out smash off the glove of Elvis Andrus. Went into center field for the base hit. Bases loaded. Austin Jackson has hit .338 in his career. 1-1. Tony Barnett this year has inherited 12 runners coming into a ball game. Only 2 of them have scored. Well, good job of preventing damage when he's coming to the game. He throws a strike on the inside corner. Jackson didn't think so, and he complains to the home plate umpire, Ben May, but to no avail. Not many hitters are going to think that's a strike. Every pitcher you talk to will think it is.
Well, the box track says it is.
A little bit high. 2-2. Tony Barnett nods in agreement. And the pitch in the dirt. Nice stop by Bobby Wilson. That fills the count. So with 2 outs now, Garcia at third base, Saladino at second, Eaton at first will all be moving with the offering. If Austin Jackson keeps it going, Jose Abreu, menacing figure in the on-deck circle. Barnett with the 3-2 pitch. A play for Ian Desmond in center. In front of the warning track. That is out number 3. White Sox take the lead. They get a run on 2 hits and an error and strand 3 after 5.5. Chicago leading Texas 5-4 on Fox Sports Southwest. It's time now for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $200 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during the inning, Neva Wilson from Amarillo wins $200. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Neva is going to take home $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. The Rangers now playing from behind once again, 5-4. Ryan Rua starting things off, fouls off that first pitch. Rua 1 for 2 against Latos this afternoon. Single to left, leading off the 3rd inning. Last time up in the 4th. And a little pop up to first. 1 ball and 1 strike. Good look from right down the right field line. RF camera that roams around Globe Life Park, giving you some great looking shots from everywhere out here. Up the middle, that's into center field, and Rua is on again to lead off an inning. He's 2 for 3 today.
Found that spot in the last 2 games 3 times. 3 ground balls up the middle. This has been a great series as far as back and forth goes. White Sox have the best record in the American League, and they've had a lot of leads in this series, and the Rangers seem like they come back every time.
Yep.
They've got to be saying, man, no lead safe against this team. They keep battling back. See if they can come back again here.
Action, as you saw out in the White Sox bullpen. Dan Jennings, the left-hander. Here's Bobby Wilson. And a check swing. That ball shot back off of Gianna Navarro off the bat of Bobby Wilson for strike one. Bobby, a base hit and 2 trips. Rangers now with 7 hits this afternoon. The White Sox with 9. This has been a very offensive series for both ball clubs. There goes Rua. The pitch is high. No throw by Navarro.
We'll just, anyone that gets on just going to go on Latos. He's shows no inclination to be able to hold the runner at first base, so go for it.
A big tall guy, his motion is not one that's conducive to getting quick to home plate. Even with no leg lift, Rua can just stroll in there. He could have stood up if he wanted to. And Bobby, a good bunt down the third baseline. Latos on to Lowry covering. And the sacrifice goes 1-4. And now just 90 feet away with a tying run is Ryan Rua. And Rougned Odor coming up.
Well, bunting is not a strength of major league players nowadays, but Bobby Wilson can bunt. That's the second time in this series he's laid down a beautiful sacrifice bunt. And if you watch the fundamentals of the bunt, you would probably watch Bobby Wilson. The last one he bunted was toward the first base side. This one's toward the third base side, and both times he got the job done.
Yep.
The base hit and the big stolen base sets up a man on third base in less than 2-out situation.
And that bunt has driven Matt Latos from the game as Robin Ventura out. He wanted to make the call to the bullpen. Dan Jennings, the left-hander, coming on. We will take another timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.
Globe Life Park in Arlington, and want to tell you about a very special event going on here at the ballpark. May 21st, you can get on the field and do a little yoga. $30 gets you yoga. If you do $50, it'll get you a ticket to a Boston game in June or a Kansas City game in July. That cost is $50. Go to TexasRangers.com/active to get your tickets. And guys, namaste. That's a yoga thing, in case you don't know. Come on, guys.
I know that.
Namaste, it means like, I don't know, something peaceful, whatever. Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you, Em.
Same to you, Em.
I want you guys to do it back to me.
The reason I didn't say anything was it put me to sleep. As soon as you said it, my eyes closed.
I want to see both of you May 21st doing yoga. on the field.
You got it. You got it. You going to be there?
Sure.
If you're not there, how are you going to see us?
I want to see it. Namaste. Come on, let's see it. Yes.
Yes. Namaste.
Thank you, Buzz.
Sweet victory.
Buzz speaks for both of us.
I knew you wouldn't do it, Tom.
I was going to do it, but Buzz beat me to it.
For all I know, I just agreed to a loan or something. I don't know.
I love you guys.
Thanks, Sam. Well, we got a little while to stretch out before that yoga thing. Maybe we could do that. 0-2, the count to Odor. In the dirt,
Navarro's blocked some nice balls in this series.
Yeah. Drew Stubbs, by the way, has entered the ballgame as a pinch runner. He's down at third base, taking Ryan Ruiz's place. Well, Stubbs, as he has, seems like every time he comes in the ballgame, he's carrying the tying run. And he has scored the tying run in a couple of games. 1-2 to Odor. Rugden today 0 for 3. Infield for the Sox pulled all the way in. Popped up. That is going to stay on the infield. Lowry makes the catch. Now there are 2 outs, and it's going to be up to Ian Desmond if the Rangers are to at least tie this ball game.
Well, Rugnev's been hot, obviously. This is one game. The White Sox have been able to get the ball in on his fist and tie him up. Jennings got the fastball, elevated it up and in, got him to hit the ball off the handle. Pretty much the same thing all 4 at bats.
Dan Jennings in his 10th ball game. You saw him here on Monday night. He worked a couple of innings. 2.13 ERA. League hitting .250 against him. Desmond this afternoon 1 for 2 with an RBI base hit, and he walked and scored a run. 1 ball and no strikes. Desmond got a base hit right through the middle against Jennings on Monday night. Rangers would take something similar right here. One and one. Average at 256. And 18 RBI now for Ian Desmond. 1-2. Jennings painting that outside corner with a couple.
Well, he's got first base open. Got a left-hand hitter coming up, so he can afford to be a little fine. Made a couple of great pitches.
Tom Wilhelmsen loosening in that Ranger bullpen. Fouled back. Desmond staying alive at a ball and 2 strikes. If you were sitting behind that protective screen on top of the Ranger dugout, this is what you would see. Good look at Ian Desmond getting ready. The 1-2 pitch from Jennings. That will even the count. Desmond in the last 21 games has been a .338 hitter. In those 21 games, he has driven in 17 runs now. Looper out over shortstop. That is going to fall for a base hit.
Take that.
Make that 18 RBI. Desmond drives home Stubbs, and the Rangers have come back again to tie the game. 5-5.
I think all you could say about these 3 games is it's 2 really good teams just going back and forth all day long. Generally, it's the Rangers coming back from a deficit to tie it or go ahead. Now Jennings makes a good pitch right here with his cut fastball. He jams Ian, but Ian's able to muscle it over shortstop, find a little daylight out in the outfield and tie this ball game.
Ian with his second run-scoring single of the afternoon. No, we will start anew again. Mazzara lines one to left center. That's in for a base hit. Desmond, after a big turn, hangs on. Nomar Mazzara with his second hit. He is 2 for 2.
Oh, Nomar got the opportunity to bat third today. He has a single, a sac fly, a walk, scored a run, and now a line drive single to left. And no matter where he's batting in the lineup, he's going to have the same approach and do the same thing anyway. Down in fourth, he'll have these at bats. Bat in ninth, he'll have these at bats.
Yep. And it really doesn't matter left-handed or right-handed pitcher. He just goes up there and looks for the ball and smokes it somewhere.
Yep. Yep. He's one 21-year-old who the veterans on the team could kind of watch and get an idea of an approach at the plate.
Be a 21-year-old mentor to these guys. Well, here's Adrian, and Beltre, of all the people in the Ranger lineup, probably happy that Latos no longer in there. Adrian had an 0 for 3 against Latos, and the exception of the fly ball that he pretty well squared up, hit it to dead center. Had some awkward-looking swings against the right-hander, but now facing the left-hander Dan Jennings. Outside corner for strike one.
Outfield playing a little bit shallow. Maybe the ball's not carrying that well today. Cabrera in left field is unusually shallow for a left fielder against Adrian.
Desmond at second, Mazzara at first. 0-2 now to Beltre. Adrian currently hitting at .277. Trying to extend his hitting streak to 5 consecutive. Go-ahead run out at second base. Base hit to center field. Here comes Desmond to score. Adrian Beltre has given the Rangers the lead. Mazzara going to third. Texas on top 6-5.
Yeah, he got ahead with his fastball and left. I think it was an 0-2 pitch, a 2-strike pitch anyway. Off speed, up and out over the plate. Adrian belted it into center field. I'm sure that's one Jennings would like to have back. That didn't have much of a chance to get Adrian out. 0-2. Trying to get it in, I'm sure. Threw it right down the middle of the plate, paid the price. 3 straight hits.
You're not going to get Adrian Beltre out there very often.
No, not with that.
No, 3 consecutive 2-out base hits. Rangers on top 6-5. Here's Prince Fielder. Right center field not carrying very well. Jackson coming on and makes the catch. And that will do it. But the Rangers take the lead. They get 2 runs on 4 hits and leave 2. We're going to the 7th in Arlington. 6-5 Rangers. Our fourth game summary this afternoon, a back and forth affair, and Brett Lowry, a 2-run home run, got the White Sox out in front 4-2. Back came the Rangers. Prince Fielder tied it up, dumping a double down the left field line to drive in the tying runs. Then in the 6th inning, Ian Desmond muscling a pitch into left center. That tied it, ball game up again, this time at 5. Then it was Adrian Beltre right back through the middle. RBI single plated Ian Desmond, and the Rangers are on top 6-5 as we go to the 7th inning. And here is Tom Wilhelmsen taking over on the hill now. Tony Barnett worked a third of an inning. Got out of the 6th inning without allowing any of the 2 inherited runners that he had on base to score. So he was perfect in that regard. Wilhelmsen, his 15th appearance, 2-2, 333 opponent's average. And there's a base hit to right field as Jose Abreu drives it the other way, leading off the 7th inning. For Abreu, his 2nd hit of the day.
Looked like a slider up. Abreu's a good hitter. He goes with a pitch. Probably got a little more of the plate than Tom wanted. Abreu smoked that ball to right field.
No defensive changes carrying over from last half inning. Ian Desmond has moved from center over to left. And Drew Stubbs, who pinch ran for Ryan Arua in that 6th inning, stays in the ball game to play center. There's Drew. Of the outfield of Desmond, Stubbs, and Mazzara left, center, and right. Carlos Sanchez rounded out his first time. He takes a strike from Wilhelmsen. Sanchez into the ball game since taking the place of the injured Todd Frazier, in case you missed it. Frazier was injured diving into the seats for a foul pop-up. Had a cut the lower lip that required 5 stitches. Sanchez came on to take his place. And he is down on the count now to Wilhelmsen. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The hits even this afternoon at 10. And in that regard, it has not been a good series for pitchers on either side. Remember, the White Sox came into this series by far the best pitching in the American League, both starters and bullpen. Rangers have pretty well manhandled it. Two and 2 the count. Shot foul back to the screen. Wilhelmsen trying to induce that double play for the first time this afternoon. Rangers have not turned one today. 49 for the year. Elvis and Rugnet both at double play depth. Pretty much straight away for Sanchez. Wilhelmsen ready. Three balls, 2 strikes. Sanchez hitting in the 4th spot. He will be followed by Melky Cabrera, who has had a big day. He is 2 for 3 with a couple of runs scored. Abreu on the move, and the pitch is chopped to the right side. Moreland will win that race to the bag. It works like a sacrifice, except Sanchez gets an at bat. Into scoring position is Abreu. 1 away, and Cabrera coming up. So Cabrera turning around to bat from the left side of the plate. All 3 of his previous at-bats as a right-handed hitter.
Rangers looking to have a shutdown inning. They've scored 2 runs 3 times. The first 2 times the White Sox came right back and scored themselves. 3 once, 1 another time. So Tom trying to work out of this minor jam. Man on second and 1 out. Cabrera's been hot though. He's hitting close to 400 in the month of May.
Good breaking ball that ends over the inside part of the plate. 1-1. Elvis stationed up the middle, has that one. 2 gone. On to third goes Abreu. And Brent Lowry will come to the plate. No, Wilhelmsen keeping the ball on the infield.
Second baseman Brent Lowry.
Wilhelmsen, in his 14 previous appearances, only given up runs in 3 of them. Remember the first 2 rough outings that he had in April. Gave up 5 to the Mariners here the day after opening day. He also gave up 5 to Baltimore back on the 15th of April. Other than that, been very, very solid. 1-1 to Lowry. That's either been the penthouse or the basement for Lowry this afternoon. He had a 2-run home run in the 4th. That was sandwiched in between a couple of strikeouts. Outfield gives Lowry a pretty big hole in left center field. Stubbs favoring right center just a bit. 3-1 now.
Well, in this series, the way it's gone, all the back and forth run scoring, a lot of times you go through a series and there's some times where you just feel like the pitchers are dominating, the hitters don't have a chance. This is one of those series where you feel like each team has a chance to score every inning they go out there. Hitters putting a lot of pressure on the pitchers in this series.
Yeah.
And sometimes the hitters just have the pitcher's number. The pitchers, in a lot of cases, are making good pitches. That's a good pitch.
You say pitchers have gotten themselves into trouble a few times with too many walks.
Too many walks has hurt for sure.
Now the payoff pitch coming. We'll try it again.
It's almost the pitch that Lowry hit for a home run, that low fastball. Pitch from Wilhelmsen looked like it had a little cutting action to it at 95 miles an hour.
Tying run down at third. The person of Jose Abreu. Wilhelmsen with another 3-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Wilhelmsen gives up the leadoff single, but strands Abreu. We'll take the stretch here at Globe Life Park. Rangers still leading the White Sox 6-5. Sports Southwest wants you to show your Raider pride at a Ranger game. You can get discounted tickets for Friday's game against the Blue Jays, and the first 2,500 fans with a Texas Tech ticket at the park get a free Rangers cap in Raider red and black. Go to TexasRangers.com/TTU for details. Mitch Moreland leading off here in the Rangers' 7th inning. Tom Wilhelmsen worked around a leadoff single to preserve that lead in the top of the 7th. Rangers looking for some insurance as Moreland chops it foul. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, it seems the more that Tom goes out there, the more he looks like the Tom Wilhelmsen that we've seen come into the games for Seattle. He's a little bit out of whack maybe early in the season, but that last pitch he threw at 96 miles an hour looks like Tom Wilhelmsen at his best. That's nice to see.
Tom, of course, coming over from the Mariners and the offseason deal. Leonis Martin going the other way. 1-1 to Mitch. That's one he'd like to have back. Yeah, as far as Wilhelmsen goes, it wouldn't be surprising to me anyway that he might be putting a little undue pressure on himself
early in the year,
trying to impress people, and that would be natural.
Yeah, that's what we all do.
Sure.
Going to a new team. But he looks like he's settling into a comfort zone now.
Yep. And Mitch staying alive with that foul tip. Moreland, a couple of walks, 1 intentional this afternoon, 0 for 1 officially. The average currently at 255 as he faces Jennings. This matchup on Monday night, probably one of the bigger plays of that 12-inning affair. 10th inning, Moreland with runners at first and third in a tie ball game and 1 out. Grounded into that double play. And that took the Rangers' scoring opportunity away. And Mitch down on strikes here for out number 1. And before Elvis steps in, let's send it over once again to John Radigan for a Chevy game break. All right, John, thank you. Now here's Elvis, 0 for 3. 1 ball and no strikes. Quick note on Mitch Moreland's strikeout. That was the first strikeout recorded against the Rangers this afternoon. Jake Diekman loosening in that Ranger pen. Two balls, no strikes. Elvis a 287 average. Got on base on a fielder's choice ground out. Had that stolen base back in the 4th. And he's ahead 3 balls and no strikes. Rangers captain.
He's at it again, Buzz.
Breaking out that spider.
He's going to pop that spider in front of the wrong guy. He's going to turn into Alex Karras.
3-1 now.
Remember Alex Harrison, Blazing Saddles.
Punching the horse.
Punched out that horse. Better be careful, Captain.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a movie. And a foul ball now makes it 3-2.
Watch out.
Uh-oh.
Some people fall for it and some people don't.
Yeah.
I don't think some people don't really like spiders even if they're fake. Get out of there before one of the big guys gets mad at him.
3-2 pitch. And we'll come back and try it again. Jennings set to work. Got him swinging. Down and in, and Elvis gone on strikes. Back-to-back punch-outs for Jennings. 2 away. And Drew Stubbs coming up. And it's time for our Cricket Wireless Something to Smile About. And you're not one of those people that really is upset by spiders. That's good. That's something to smile about.
I thought she was ignoring it.
I did too.
She didn't see it.
Drew Stubbs, a .400 average since joining the Rangers. Overall, a .256 hitter, including his time with the Atlanta Braves. Takes a strike there to even the count at 1. Drew, the former UT Austin All-American. Saladino, it just does get Stubbs. 3 up, 3 down for Dan Jennings. Rangers gone in the 7th. On to the 8th we go. Rangers 6, White Sox 5 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Time for the progressive fan of the game. You got to give it to William. He's the youngest fan here, 8-month-old, but you also have to give it to Elena. She's 97 years young, comes from Killeen. She's the only one, Tom, in the section not afraid of spiders, as captain continues to try to trick her. Congratulations, Elena, fan of the game. Who's your favorite player? Who's your favorite Ranger player?
Beltre.
Yeah, Adrian Beltre, but good to have you in here. Captain couldn't get you today on the spider trick, could he? Hey, with another surprise, we got Shirley, the cookie lady, here to give you another cookie. There you go, Elena. Congratulations, progressive fan of the game. Good to have you here today, Buzz.
Good choice, Knoxley. Nice going. No, we head to the 8th inning. White Sox coming to bat. The bottom third of the order. Eliseo Garcia will start things off, and Jake Diekman has taken over on the mound for the Rangers. And he pumps in a breaking ball for strike 1. Jake Diekman, the 4th pitcher employed this afternoon by Jeff Bannister, 3rd reliever behind Cole Hamels. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dick with his 17th appearance of the year here this afternoon. Last time we saw him was on Monday night. Worked a third of an inning, gave up a run on a couple of hits. ERA now up to an even 3. 2-1. The hits even at 10 for both ball clubs. Rangers leading 6-5. There's strike 2. Garcia 0 for 3 today. Reached on an error his last time up. Grounded out in the 4th. Struck out in the 2nd. Just foul down the first base side. Not foul by much. Skipping by the bag. Garcia sat out 5 ball games, had a hamstring problem. Since he has gotten back into the lineup, he did not slow down one bit. And that pitch just missing low, so the count is full. Garcia hitting 7th, to be followed by the catcher, Deoner Navarro. Diekman with a 3-2 pitch. We'll try it again. Garcia, a .435 average since missing those 4 games. Call strike 3. Diekman painting the inside corner. Gets the punch out. 1 gone.
Get that leadoff man. 3-2 count. Made some good pitches on him. No doubt about that one. And I think Garcia knew it.
Our Fox tracker would confirm that call by Ben May, the home plate umpire. A 1 gone. Here is Navarro, who is 2 for 3 this afternoon, a single and a double. Navarro singled and scored in the 3rd inning, had a double in the 4th. Then in the 6th, went down on strikes. It was the last strikeout recorded by Cole Hamels this afternoon, who had 9 of them. 2-0. Navarro with his 2nd multi-hit game of the year for the White Sox today. To center field, Stubbs roaming back to his right. 2 gone. Diekman able to come back from being down to the count to get the fly ball. Now Tyler Saladino. Jake this year has really only had the 1 rough outing. That was on the 1st of May against the Angels. Gave up 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Gave up a home run to Giovanni Soto in that ball game. That's really been the only time that he has been roughed up at all. Saladino had an RBI single in the 6th inning. Struck out the other 2 times he came to the plate. Got the start today in favor of Jimmy Rollins, who got the day off. Rollins has started the first 2 games in this series. One ball and 1 strike. Diekman, a belt high set. And misses low and away. 3-1. Now, Diekman has gotten the first 2 outs, but of the 15 pitches he has thrown thus far, He has thrown more balls than strikes, 8 balls in the 15 pitches. Saladino hitting 9th. If he extends this inning, he would take the White Sox back to the top of the order for Adam Eaton. Up the middle, Odor can't get it on the dive. Gugdead came close, but that ball just hit too sharply. And Saladino aboard with 2 outs.
Well, if you can get Eaton right here, at least he can't lead off the 9th inning. He's a very good leadoff hitter, 9th in the American League in on-base percentage. Well, with 2 outs, you get to pitch to him. You get him out, keep him from leading off the next inning. Well, if he gets a hit, he's not going to lead off next inning either. But no matter what happens, he's not going to lead off the next inning. I hope.
Unless you picked off Saladino.
Oh, there you go.
1 ball and no strikes. Eaton hit by a pitch his last time up. That was by Tony Barnett back in the 6th inning. 3 ground balls against Cole Hamels for Eaton as he takes a strike. 1-1. Against the hitter like Adam Eaton, Elvis playing over in the hole between short and third. Favors that side. Tom told you about Eaton's propensity to slap the ball the other way. Scott Carroll and Nate Jones loosening in the White Sox bullpen.
It depends what happens in this inning as to who comes in the ball game.
Three and 1 now. Well, if Eaton gets aboard to extend this inning, Austin Jackson is the next hitter. Inside, ball 4. Tying run moves into scoring position at second base, and Austin Jackson coming up.
Center fielder Austin Jackson.
And Doug Brocail going to trot out to the mound. Sam Dyson throwing in the Ranger bullpen. Brocail talking to his battery of Jake Diekman and Bobby Wilson.
Yeah, with Diekman pitching to Jackson right here, you'd have to think that, I guess you don't have to think it, but I guess it's possible that Tollison is not available today. Maybe Dyson is the closer.
Oh, a 2-out single and a walk. First and second, Austin Jackson 1 for 4. Sean Tollison talking with Brian Holiday out there in the Ranger bullpen. Jackson had a 3rd inning RBI single. Takes that breaking ball that is just below the strike zone. Saladino at second. He is trailed by Adam Eaton at first base. 2 balls, no strikes. Diekman with the walk to Eaton now has walked 4 this season in 12+ innings. Gets that one in at the knees. 2-1. Diekman back to the plate. 3 balls and a strike. So Jake in danger of loading the bases with 2 outs here in the 8th. Jose Abreu is in the on-deck circle, and it would be doubtful if Diekman loses Jackson that he would face Abreu. Three and 2. Abreu, not the guy you'd like to face with the tying and go-ahead runs on base. This crowd of better than 29,000, 29,093, and they are clapping in support of Jake Diekman. Payoff pitch, called strike three. Fade to the outside corner. Austin Jackson frozen at home plate. And the White Sox strand two on a hit and a walk. 7.5 in the books. It remains the Rangers 6, the White Sox 5 on Fox Sports Southwest.
Here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, the Rangers hanging on to a one-run lead over the Chicago White Sox. This is the finale of a three-game set between these two teams. Day off tomorrow, and then the Toronto Blue Jays come to town. That one gets going on Friday, 7 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. There you see a couple of the big boppers headed into that three-game series. A big fine, folks. Thank you. A big fine thank you to the folks at AT High-Speed Internet for getting us ready for game one of that series. And this camera seems so close to me. I apologize to everyone at home. Guys, it's too close. It's too much. It's too much for everyone. It really is. It's just too much.
You got to be friends with the camera, Em. Well, Scott Carroll gave up 3 runs in last night's game in a third of an inning. On now to face Bobby Wilson and the Rangers here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Rangers on top 6-5. Bobby Wilson had a sacrifice bunt his last time up. That was the first out of that 6th inning. Rangers put 2 on the board, and a big part of that was Wilson's sacrifice bunt. Bobby this afternoon 1 for 2 officially. Scott Carroll, I mentioned that 1/3 of an inning outing last night. This is just his 3rd appearance since being recalled from AAA by the White Sox. Opposition hitting a robust .400 against the right-hander, and the ERA is rather stratospheric at 20.25. 1-2. Carroll came on last night to get the final out of the 7th inning, and then started the 8th and did not get an out. Gave up chopper foul right over the heads of some of the White Sox down there. Gave up single, double, and walk, and he was gone. And that was the beginning of that Rangers 7-run uprising Last night, that was the second time in 3 games the Rangers have put 7 on the board in the 8th inning. Did it Sunday against the Tigers, and last night too. That ball hit well to left field. Cabrera back and right on the track makes the catch.
Well, I thought that ball was going off the wall for sure. Well hit ball by Bobby. Second ball in this series that he's hit exceptionally hard to Cabrera out in left field.
Yeah.
All he had to do is get that one up in the air just a little bit. Would have had a better outcome. Nice swing and a hard hit ball. Might have had some top spin on it, caused it to sink a little bit. Cabrera actually had it all the way.
So a hard out number 1. And back to the top of the Ranger order. Rougned Odor, an 0 for 4 this afternoon. A bunt, and it's going to roll just foul.
Wouldn't have been much doubt about that if it stayed fair.
That thing stayed fair. It might have been Rougned trying for a double. He was 3/4 of the way to first base when that ball just veered off into foul territory.
He bunted for a hit last night, and one thing that'll do is, in a lot of situations, it'll keep the shift honest for sure. You'll have to keep one guy fairly close, and if that's as close as he is, you can't stop him from getting a bunt base hit.
No balls and a strike. You can see the defensive alignment. Still a lot of space between Sanchez, the third baseman, and the shortstop Saladino. Saladino, a good 7 or 8 steps on the first base side of second.
Well, it forces the defense to play much closer, which makes it much easier to hit a ground ball into left field for a base hit.
One and two. That kind of a shake of the head, and might lead you to believe this is an afternoon game that Rougned is not seeing the ball as well as he has lately.
The way he's been swinging the bat, it's just one of those days for Rougned.
Up the middle, and the third baseman Sanchez cuts it off. Odor makes a right turn at first. That is out number 2, and it brings up Ian Desmond. Our AT high-speed internet replay for you. How about Ian Desmond, the days he's had? That's a base hit to right field for an RBI. That was back in the 3rd inning. Then in the 6th inning, muscles one out into left center for the game-tying RBI. His 2nd run driven in today. He is 2 for 3. 2 runs driven home, 2 runs scored, and he sold hot dogs in between. Ball 1. .262 Desmond's average now. It continues its meteoric rise. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, I think everybody heard the reports on Ian Desmond. Obviously not the kind of year last year with the Nationals that he or they had come to expect, and had the reputation of a do-it-all kind of player. Made it very clear to the Rangers when they talked in the offseason that he would come over here and play left field, learn how to play it, and he has learned very quickly and very well. 1 and 2, and the offense getting back in gear. Sam Dyson looks to be the pitcher that Jeff Bannister will turn to for the 9th inning, as Sean Tollison showing no signs of taking that sweatshirt off.
He's pitched a lot recently, just not available today. Getting the day off.
Still 1 and 2.
Had he been available, then you probably would have seen Sam Dyson come in at least to face Austin Jackson last inning. I think Jeff Bannister, if Abreu came to the plate, might have brought him in anyway. But I think the feeling is you'd prefer your closer to start the 9th inning and pitch 1 inning rather than have to pitch out of a major jam in the 8th and then go back out and pitch the 9th.
Got him swinging. Carroll gets the strikeout. He has a 1-2-3 8th. So Rangers gone in order. We are going to the 9th. Sam Dyson will be the pitcher trying to close out this 6-5 Ranger lead.
Rangers cling to a 1-run lead as we head to the 9th inning, and Sam Dyson will be facing the 3, 4, and 5 hitter. It doesn't get a whole lot more dramatic than this. And after the game, lots more drama as we bring you Rangers Live and a complete wrap-up of this one. I'm here with Mark McLemore and Pudge Rodriguez. We're in the Captain Morgan Club, and we will bring you all the post-game reaction from the clubhouse, from Jeff Bannister. We'll check in with Buzz and Tom and get the analysis of these guys. It's right after the game. It's Rangers Live. Hang with us.
All right, John. First things first, Sam Dyson has entered the ball game now to try and close this out. Dyson, who had a couple of saves last year in the regular season and one more in the postseason, appearing in his 17th game this season. He has been hit at 263 clip by the American League, ERA of 2.25. 12 strikeouts, 6 walks for Dyson. Last worked here on Monday night. Worked an inning and allowed just 1 hit. So Abreu, Sanchez, and Cabrera. First pitch hits Abreu, and it puts the tying run on base with nobody out.
That was not in the game plan. Trying to pitch in and jam him was in the game plan, but that one just got a little too far in.
Second hit batter for Dyson this year.
Generally, you don't play for a tie on the road, but the Rangers have used a lot of their bullpen. The White Sox haven't. So in this situation, you might see a bunt right here.
Carlos Sanchez up there, no bunt shown, and he takes strike 1, at least on the first pitch. Adrian Beltre at the cut of the grass was sneaking in just in case. Sanchez 0 for 2 this afternoon, a couple of groundouts. Nothing in 2. A nice little 2-hopper out to either Odor or Andrus would be a nice one right about now. Abreu, the runner at first. Dyson will look over his shoulder as he comes set. Took something off that. That's the power changeup that Sam will feature. Still nothing in 2. A ball and 2 strikes. Dyson last year, you'll remember, worked in 31 ball games after coming over from Miami. In that trade deadline deal, he had a 1.15 ERA. Gave up a grand total of 24 hits in 31 innings. Runs the count even here to Sanchez. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dyson did his collegiate pitching at University of South Carolina. And he falls behind now, or I should say falls all the way to a 3-2 count after being ahead 0-2. Sanchez batting in the 4th spot will be followed by a good hitter in Milky Cabrera. Abreu on the move. Got him swinging. Throw to second is right on the money from Bobby Wilson. A strike him out, throw him out, double play.
Now that's a turnaround right there. You hit the first batter, you go to 3-2, throw 3 straight balls. A ball, it's 2 men on, nobody out. A strike and a swing and a miss. It's a throw him out, 2 men out, and nobody on. That's the turnaround you like to see right there. Threw that ball right by him. And a great throw on the steal attempt right on the base.
All Elvis had to do was catch the ball and slap it right on Abreu, right there, sliding by. The base is empty now. Here's Cabrera.
Amazing how one pitch can turn around a whole inning.
Yeah. Things had not looked too good. That at bat was going downhill pretty quickly.
It goes to 3-2. Now you're starting, oh man, here we go again. This is going to be a nail biter. And then Sam makes a great pitch. Bobby makes a great throw. One more out, and everything's okay again.
Now this crowd of better than 29,000 beginning to stand and applaud Sam Dyson. Ground ball up the middle. There's Elvis. The throw to Moreland, and that is a winner. Rangers win 2 out of 3 from the White Sox in rather dramatic fashion. Come from behind a huge one last night. A 5-run come from behind victory. And this afternoon coming from behind 3 different times in this ball game to take a 6-5 win. Dyson gets his first save of the year. And Tony Barnett gets the win in relief. And a good job out of the bullpen. Barnett, Wilhelmsen, Diekman, and Dyson all throwing up zeros as the Rangers able to put one away and win 2 out of 3 from the team that came in with the best record in the American League, the Chicago White Sox. Boy, a fantastic series, and if you didn't like this series,
no kidding,
I'm not sure you like baseball.
Bad for your heart, I guess, as nervous as these games, nerve-wracking as these games were. But as far as compelling baseball goes, back and forth seesaw battle against 2 really good ball clubs, it doesn't get much better than that.
Boy, never a better example for the hashtag never ever quit than what we've seen here.
I'll say.
Last 3 nights, just outstanding. So a 6-5 win. Rangers now with their 20th victory of the year. They are a season high 5 games over 500. Elvis Andrus doing the honors on that final play of the ball game here this afternoon. Shakes with Elvis and Rube did their postseason routine, and let's go down to the field. Emily Jones is standing by.
Thank you very much, Prince. A big win for you guys today and a big series win for you guys, wasn't it?
I mean, you know, it's a great team. You know, they played us tough, but we were able to come out, you know, and won the series.
Isn't it funny how they just walk around like pretend like you're not going to see him? Elvis Andrus, I will kill you with my bare hands. I swear. It is hot. Lord. Okay. And it's only May, Prince. What are we going to do here? Big win for this team. Big series win for this team.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, I mean, you know, that's a great team. They're playing great baseball, and you know, they didn't make it easy for us, but we were able to keep pushing and, you know, got the win.
For you, how are you feeling at the plate? It looked like things were clicking today.
Yeah, you know, I hit a ball hard, and then, you know, threw a little touch pass out there, you know. I'm just, you know, just happy I'm healthy and happy I can contribute whenever I can.
You talk about contributing. It seems like everyone is doing it these days, getting it from all different areas. How big is that right now?
Oh, it's real big, especially keeping the line moving, you know, getting walks and, you know, things like that. You know, sometimes when you're hitting, you forget that, you know, walks are a good thing as well. So, you know, trying to do the whole thing and just play good baseball.
Okay. Up top. Send it back up to you guys.
All right, Dan, good stuff. Thanks very much, and congratulations to Prince and the whole Ranger clubhouse. We'll be back to Globe Life Park with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.